Hello, family. Many blessings and love to you all today. My name is Jermaine Felton, and today's reading comes out of Genesis chapter 45, verses 1 through 28. In this chapter, Joseph reveals his identity, and Pharaoh invites Jacob to Egypt. With that being said, let's start today's reading. Joseph could stand it no longer. There were many people in the room, and he said to his attendants, "Out, all of you." So he was alone with his brothers when he told them he who he was. Then he broke down and wept. He wept so loudly that the Egyptians could hear him, and word of it quickly carried to Pharaoh's palace. "I am Joseph," he said to his brothers. "Is my father still alive?" But his brothers were speechless. They were stunned to realize that Joseph was standing there in front of them. "Please come closer," he said to them. So they came closer, and he said again, "I am Joseph, your brother, whom you sold into slavery in Egypt. But don't be upset and don't be angry with yourselves for selling me to this place. It was God who sent me here ahead of you to preserve your lives. This famine had ravaged the land for 2 years, will last 5 more years, and there will be neither plowing nor harvesting. God has sent me ahead of you to keep you and your families alive to preserve many survivors. So it was God who sent me here, not you, and he is the one who made me an advisor to Pharaoh, the manager of his entire palace, and the governor of all Egypt." So we see here in verse 4 through 8, although Jesus' brothers had wanted to get rid of him, God used even their evil actions to fulfill his ultimate plan. He had sent Joseph ahead to preserve their lives, save Egypt, and prepare the way for the beginning of the nation of Israel. God is sovereign. His plans are not dictated by human actions. When others intend evil towards you, remember that they are only God's tools. As Joseph said to his brothers, "You intended to harm me, but God intended it all for my good. He brought me to this position so I could save the lives of many people." And we see this in Genesis 50:20. Let's continue. "Now hurry back to my father and tell him, this is what your son Joseph says. God has made me master over all the land of Egypt. So come down to me immediately. You can live in the region of Goshen where you can be near me with all your children and grandchildren, your flocks and herds and everything you own. I will take care of you there, for there are still 5 years of famine ahead of us. Otherwise, your household and all your animals will starve." Then Joseph added, "Look, you can see for yourselves, and so can my brother Benjamin, that I am really Joseph. Go tell my father our honored positions here in Egypt. Describe for him everything you have seen, and then bring my father here quickly." Weeping with joy, he embraced Benjamin, and Benjamin did the same. Then Joseph kissed each of his brothers and wept over them, and after that they began talking freely with him. The soon the news soon reached Pharaoh's palace. Joseph's brother has arrived. Pharaoh and his officials were all delighted to hear this. Pharaoh said, "Joseph, tell your brothers this is what you must do. Load your pack animals and hurry back to the land of Canaan. Then get your father and all of your families and return here to me. I'll give you the very best land in Egypt, and you will eat from the best that the land produces." Then Pharaoh said to Joseph, "Tell your brothers, take wagons from the land of Egypt to carry your little children and your wives and bring your fathers here. Don't worry about your personal belongings, for the best of all the land of England is yours. Egypt is yours." So we see here Joseph had been rejected, kidnapped, enslaved, and imprisoned. Although his brothers had been unfaithful to him, he graciously forgave them and shared his prosperity. Joseph demonstrates how God forgives us and showers us with goodness, even though we have sinned against him. The same forgiveness and blessings are ours if we ask for them. Let's continue. So the sons of Jacob did as they were told. Joseph provided them with wagons as Pharaoh had commanded, and he gave them supplies for the journey. And he gave each of them new clothes, but to Benjamin he gave 5 changes of clothes and 300 pieces of silver. He also sent his father 10 male donkeys loaded with the finest products of Egypt and 10 female donkeys loaded with grain and bread and other supplies he would need on his journey. So Joseph sent his brothers off. As they left, he called after them, "Don't quarrel about all this along the way, and they left Egypt and returned to their father Jacob in the land of Canaan. Joseph is still alive, they told him, and he's the governor of all the land of Egypt. Jacob was stunned at the news. He couldn't believe it. But when they repeated to Jacob everything Joseph had told them, and when he saw the wagons Joseph had sent to carry him, their father's spirit revived. Then Jacob exclaimed, "It must be true. My son Joseph is alive. I must go and see him before I die." So we see here in verse 26 and 27 that Jacob needed some evidence before he could believe the incredible news that Joseph was alive. It was similar to what Thomas refused to believe that Jesus had risen from the dead until he could see and touch him. We see this in John 20:25. It is hard to change what you believe without the facts, or sometimes even with the facts. Good news can be difficult to believe. Don't ever give up hope that God has a wonderful future in store for you. And that's where we'll end today. And I pray that today's word would resonate in your heart about forgiveness today. And I just pray that we all demonstrate the same forgiveness that Joseph gave to his brothers. And I pray that you have a blessed day, everyone.